You were born in Wackenheim.
Yeah,
That's
Germany.
That's in the Rhineland-Pfalz. Is that right?
Yeah, that's net. Did you take? Does it take that in?
Yeah, that's fine. Just
You mean I have to tell my whole story?
well,
I'm
why
born
don't you?
in Wachenheim, but Dürkheim in the Rheinpfalz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah.
And when were you born?
February the 14th on Valentine's Day, 1907.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you when you grew up in the Rhineland-Pfalz there? What did you learn as a trade?
I'm a toolmaker,
Toolmaker.
or tool and die
Yeah.
maker.
And when did you decide to come to the United States?
Oh boy, 1930. Well, I was unemployed for 2 years in Germany. Everybody was.
Yeah.
In 1930, no work.
So
And I had a brother-in-law here, Cincinnati. He told me to come over. He had a job for me. So I came to Cincinnati and worked as a toolmaker there.
okay. How long did you work in Cincinnati? You came over in 1930 and went right to Cincinnati to work. Is that correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I remember the time I came on the ship.
Yeah.
You know, that was for 7, 8 days on the ocean. Oh my God.
No, that's had custom. Pick up where we left off until they come. Yeah. No, like you with the Rhineland-Pfalz there.
Yeah.
Now you didn't work for 2 years because in 30
Yeah,
they
it
had
was
the depression and everything there.
Yeah.
And who was it in Cincinnati?
My brother-in-law,
Your brother-in-law.
he worked for the owner of the hotel, Gibson. He was the same guy, Wachenheim before.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law, he was from Mannheim. And he told me he has me in Germany, another Pfälzer. So they brought me to Cincinnati. And, you know,
Yeah.
Pfälzer too.
Yeah.
We
Now,
talked about it.
Were you single when you came
I
over? Or
let's see now.
where did you meet Anna?
No, I was single there.
Yeah.
I went out there. Everything was arranged. I went out there one day. Next day, I married. It was arranged.
Well, it was an arranged marriage.
Well, not arranged.
No, well, I mean, that's...
You have to have a license, see.
Yeah.
But they put the license in a week or so before, so I could marry right away. You have to.
Well, how did you meet Anna?
Oh, well, that's private. It's personal.
Well, come on, 87 years ago.
Man about it. Okay.
Yeah, come on, you can tell me.
Did you meet her in Germany?
Sure.
No.
I was.
Well, did she come over with you? Or
Well, you want to have a lot of private.
Well, come on, Karl. I told you I'm not easy on you.
Damn, what's the matter with this guy? You want to know the first time I slept with my wife? You want to know
No,
that
I don't want to
too?
know that. Anna will tell me that.
God damn it. That's something.
Where did you meet
I
Anna?
have a nosy guy.
Did you meet her? Was she from
I
Wackenheim
met
too?
her out in Germany.
In the Pfalz?
No, in Mannheim.
In Mannheim, yeah. Okay, was she
She
born?
was still single and innocent, yeah.
Well, after she met you, she lost all that. Is that right?
No, not right away. It took a long time. I can't. What a conversation.
Okay, so
God.
no, so let's see if I understand right now. So you met Anna in Mannheim,
Yeah,
and then you got the job for your brother-in-law in Cincinnati.
yeah.
You came over.
He was a head waiter in a
Gibson Hotel in Cincinnati. Yeah.
And he gave me a job as a busboy. That's all I could do. I couldn't talk English. I was a busboy. And then after a while, a few months, I got the job as a tool and die maker in Cincinnati. I got right away after this in my trade.
So, but Anna was still in Germany then, huh?
No, she was. No, she was.
When did she come?
Wait a minute, I'll look at it.
Yeah. Because you met her in Mannheim,
Yeah.
and then you came over. Now, Anna stayed in Mannheim, or did she
Yeah.
come with you?
No, I came first.
She came first, so then
After a year, I went out and got married and brought her over here.
okay, so you went back to Germany to get
Yeah.
married,
Yeah,
and then you brought her back here.
to
Okay.
Cincinnati.
Good. Okay. Well, see, that makes sense.
Oh, I damn it.
See?
How the hell I know a guy like this? God, I've never in my life. Why should you all know how I got married?
We're not going to tell anybody.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Pete's going to sell the rights to Hollywood, is what it
Oh.
is. Okay.
Oh, yes, I am.
So, okay. So Anna came here,
Yeah.
and how long did you stay in Cincinnati?
I don't know.
Did you buy a home there?
No, we rented the apartment there.
Uh-huh.
When she came, we had the apartment in Cincinnati, outside Cincinnati, right near the factory where we were.
Uh-huh.
I was a student time maker there.
Was it any chance up in Bond Hill area? Because there were a lot of Germans up in that area of Cincinnati. Bond Hill, they called it.
No, we was near Bond Hill. Bond Hill was that's the high class
Yeah.
neighborhood. No, we were just poor people's neighborhood,
Okay.
not a high class neighborhood. Bond Hill is a very expensive outfit there. Big entrances out the bonds, missing or whatever. Entrance out the bonds, big everything bonds, stairways out the bonds. Just bonds.
Uh-huh.
They had their own foundry and everything.
So these are the things you made in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was special. They only handled bonds. So
I see.
what you call it? Bonds, right?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead, yeah. We'll stop talking.
Yeah, it's I think it's Newman. I forgot the name Newman. Anyway, I was the only tool and die maker there. The hired me after the old guy died there.
So you
That's when you came to Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, from Cincinnati. That outfit Shaw's Ironworks was a very old ironwork. They bought the contract. Our company, since they went bankrupt, and we had a big contract for bonds, doors, and they bought the contract. See, so they bought me down with them.
why?
Do I have to answer a question like this? God damn it, what you doing to me here? Oh,
Well, you
damn it.
used to ask me those kind of questions when I first
Oh,
came to
damn
the
it.
Singer one.
Who took my beer now? I didn't even have a beer here.
I ordered you another drink. I ordered
It's
another
coming.
drink.
Oh, you ordered. I thought somebody took in my beer over here to take all my private thoughts away from me. I don't trust Bill. Look at Bill here. The amount of sandwiches he can hide that now. When you eat all that stuff here,
Mm-hmm. But Karl, being from the Rhineland-Pfalz,
yeah.
I would expect you to be a wine drinker instead of a beer
What the
drinker.
hell, that kind of wine.
You how many get drank for you?
Please.
All right, Curly, who is this person? Harry Krummelmeyer.
Okay.
In a little bit of a hurry today. That's why.
Yeah,
Pushing
what you
something.
wanna know?
Okay, we left you when Anna came over now, and you worked with the tool
Yeah,
in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Now, how did you come from Cincinnati to Washington?
Shaw's Ironworks
Yeah.
was the German descent. He owned the ironwork on 24th Street. And
I mean, here in Washington.
it was in, yeah. And I worked in Cincinnati as a student maker.
Yeah.
And there was a big factory. They made bronze doors, everything out of bronze. They
Yeah.
made a fountain. And that George Ironwork, German owned firm, they bought the contract for a certain, what you call, they had a contract with big bronze doors, and
Oh, yeah. Okay. For a gateway.
they went bankrupt.
Mm.
They bought the contract. So they brought me over here because I did take care of the dies and tools.
Mhm.
So I came over here. That's,
You liked it and you stayed here.
well,
All right. When was that, Carl? That well, you came over like in the 30s.
30, it must have been 32, 3 years after this.
Okay, that was before World War II, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you first get involved with German clubs here in Washington?
Shoot. Uh, we had, I had a friend, he died. He was a member of the Singer Fund. We rented the hall, arcade
Yeah.
hall
Okay.
on 14th Street. And he was a member of the Singer Fund. He made me join the Singer Fund.
So that was the first club that you joined was the Singer?
Yeah, the Singer Fund.
Okay. And then how did you join? Well, let's ask one more question. Did you belong to any other clubs at that time?
Not that time, no. I belonged to the,
How about the Concord Club?
how the hell got involved in this one?
Well, it's...
Well, the Concord Group was a club. There were only 8 or 10 members,
Mhm.
but you couldn't get in. They had a
It's closed.
They had a closed society. They had about under a couple of $1,000 in
Yeah.
not more a property, but they had a lot of money for art. But they didn't know you couldn't get in. There were only 8 or 10 members. They want to keep it. They want to keep the money, I guess. See. So anyway, I was one guy in. We were closed, and he made them so I could get in.
Mhm.
It is exclusive club for some reason, I don't know. Then, what the hell?
Who was that? Freddie Schweizer? Or?
No, it was John Ida.
Okay, yeah.
John Ida. You know him?
I know the
John
his
Ida,
story.
you know,
Yeah.
he died, and he brought me in. They took him in,
Mhm.
but then in the arcade, I was very
All right. So you, at that point, you had the two club associations. Let me back up just one question. Who did you work for here in Washington?
George Ironworks.
George.
George. Yeah.
Okay.
There was also Knobloch manufacturer. There was a nation of a Knobloch manufacturer.
Okay.
They
Now-
made windows, metal windows.
Okay.
I was a diamond.
How long did you work for them?
4 or 5 years, maybe. I really don't know.
And then when you went out on your own?
No, I went to the Navy Yard as a toolmaker. There was the war going on, and they looked for toolmaker. So I was hired right away. Even that time,
Were you an American citizen?
yeah, I was, but they didn't want Germans in the Navy Yard. For some reason, they didn't trust me.
Mhm.
So the FBI came a few times and investigate me on how good I'm American was. So they let me. They wanted me because they needed me. But it was a tough time when you fight against Germany and you in a navy yard. All it was tough. There were only 2, 3 more Germans there, born Germans, but they needed them. See, they didn't want me there, but they needed me. So that's the way I ended up in navy yard.
Okay. During this time now, you had the association with the German clubs. How did that lead to your association with the German orphan homes? I mean, I'd like to ask more questions about the background, but I think we need to get to this.
Tough.
Let me ask you a quick question. At the Navy Yard, what shop did you work in?
Tool shop,
What?
20, shop 20.
Shop 20?
Tool
Okay.
shop, yeah, in the third floor.
Okay.
You know this?
My father worked at the Navy Yard. He was
Yeah,
in shop 13.
I heard,
Yeah.
tool shop. Yeah. I was, in fact, that time they didn't like Czech, but they needed us, you know.
Mhm.
But then I must have been good because I got promoted from number 1 to number 3, then the highest rating. Then I got 3B, that was the highest. I must have been good. Yeah. So anyway, I was
Good.
good. Yeah.
Now that time,
It was tough.
okay,
It was tough to be a chairman during the war. Yeah.
I'm
We
sure.
had to take a lot of abuse because I worked on the chick borer. That's a very precision machine. But there were all 3 chick borers, the very expensive machine. The 2 more, but 2 of them was English born, and I was German born. They didn't like me from the beginning. And then I had a hard time because they gave me the hardest job to do it, see? You know, and I could do it, but I went to hell with them 2 English guys on the chick board. They're great big, most expensive machines, Swiss made, you know, very precious. And I had a hard time with them 2 English, but I got promoted because I must have been good. 3B.
you know, when you were here, you know, your accent and all this, but were most of your friends American or German?
But I don't know. I
No,
don't, do I have any American friends?
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know really, Bill.
yeah,
I can't.
I'm just trying to figure out how you got the connection here
I
with
mean,
the orphan home.
Must have been through the
I joined
Singer book.
Yeah, it was probably through the Singerbund, but who?
the Singapore was the closest
Yeah.
association I had. And the most of them were German born, I believe. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. But the Singapore there was every Saturday. You had dance, arcade hall,
Mhm.
and I did a lot of work, you know.
Yeah, I know you were very
I
busy.
built a dance hall and very active there. And we had a lot of German businessmen like Camp, we had delicatessen there. It was a big German community there on 14th Street. Well, anyway, somehow I got involved in the Ocknum. I don't know how the hell I got in that outfit anyway. But I don't know who brought me in there, I tell you the truth.
What did you do when you first got contact with your work from home? Did you just get on a board?
No,
or-
there was a guy, Osa.
Yeah.
You know Osa, I know. And
Yeah.
Osa, he was the dictator of the orphan home. He was the chairman of the board, but he was a dictator. Very tough. Yeah. Everybody was afraid. Anyway, he bossed me around. Karl, did this, do this. He called me up. I had to put a fence around. He bossed me around like a little boy. I remember the time we need the sewer outlet from the gutters. And he had it. The boys dig the trenches. He caught me to lay the pipes down from the gutters to the back there. You know, he caught bossed me out like hell.
Now, this was at Good Hope Road, right?
No, out in the open home then. The good above, he bossed me a little bit. But once he was out there, he called me, Karl, there's something wrong with the pump. It was after the pump that happened. He called me up. I was just a slave for him. Nobody liked that guy. You know, also? Oh boy, he
Yeah,
was,
Mr. Knobloch,
I know the name, but I never met him.
Did
I
the
had one.
board let Mr. Ozier?
Huh?
Why did the board allow Mr. Ozier to be the superintendent?
because he was the boss of them. Nobody had the guts to. He was the chairman of the board, and nobody had the guts to throw him out. Well, he was valuable in one way. You know, he was not. He did a lot for the home.
He grew up in the German working
Yeah,
world.
he did, but whatever he said had to be done. He was a German dictator, like. I mean, really bad. I mean, you couldn't. He caught me up and I had to go. I don't know
So
why.
that was around 1965, when Mr. Chrisman resigned.
Well,
But there was 64, I think, the first, I had one contact with Ozier, and it had to be 63 or 64.
Now, you didn't move to the home until 1966, I think.
Yeah.
but
But I
To the
remember,
new place.
yeah, but for some reason, that's when I got involved with the singer blend, and I'll probably think of what the occasion was, but my first contact was with the orphan was at Good Hope Road,
yeah.
and you were involved.
Yeah.
You were
I
quite
was involved there. That's where I started that Oktoberfest.
yeah.
I mean,
Was that you that started it there?
yeah, I was in Germany. We never had Oktoberfest. A day before, a year before, I was in München.
Yeah.
And I seen the Oktoberfest that time. And I figured that we could do something like this, you know, sausages and beer. So when I came over there, somewhere, I don't know, I had a position where I started Oktoberfest, the old orphan home.
Mhm.
It had only a few stands with
Yeah, I mean,
sausage
that was
and,
right when I started.
it was very small, but then we had to lay a rubber hose for gas or something, you know, to burn us. And
Yeah, because Karl
It
Hill
caused
set up
fire.
he set up the kitchen for the ladies.
Yeah,
and
with the rubber hose, that rubber hose got fire. And that everything we eat tasted rubbery for some reason. Remember?
yeah, and they used to
Oh, that was awful. The sausage, everything smelled rubbery. That was some Oktoberfest.
back then you would get the big wooden barrels of beer from Germany at that time. It was Würzburger beer, and I always remembered because when the barrel would run out, to pop that open, it was just like a loud phew. It was like in Niagara Falls all of a sudden. And I think they sold like 3 or 4 barrels that in 1962 at that Oktoberfest, and that was considered fantastic. Now the ladies, I remember your wife, Anna, and the rest of them, they made the potato salad
Yeah.
and everything at home.
Yeah, we made that salad.
And they would bring it up to the Good Hope Road. And I think there was like 200, 250 people showed up for the first Oktoberfest. And then it started to build from there. But I don't want to talk. We're more interested about what you did with the orphan home, Karl.
I don't know how.
I know that.
At the first time Oktoberfest was when I was in Germany.
Yeah.
And he mentioned, I seen that. We never had no Oktoberfest here. The name wasn't even, Oktoberfest. It wasn't. When I went to, then I started that a little Oktoberfest in the, I
Oh.
called up the butcher from Baltimore and stuff like this. I was
Whose idea was it? Was it your idea? I remember for the
Oktoberfest.
first several years, they had an agreement with the orphan home that the profit would be split 50-50.
Yeah, that was, well, you had to give him something.
No, I know, but who's?
It was my idea. I had to give them.
Yeah,
They know we made profit.
yeah, sure.
I had to. They didn't want to. They want some beef. We didn't have much money in the orphan home, see?
Yeah.
But so you had to split half and half.
Yeah. Well, the
I
Sangerman
know.
didn't have much money in those days either, and
No, we didn't have, but we made a little money, not much, I remember at the time we had a little stand selling sausage. For some reason, the garden hose got on fire. Can you imagine the garden hose got on fire for some reason? And everything you eat was smelling awful.
Yeah.
My gosh,
but Carl,
I never. What happened that day?
when this you said it was your idea. With whom did you deal with at the orphan? Was it Oser, and you made the decision?
Also, me was the one who
Who
cooperated.
cooperated and
I
did that?
didn't like him, but he needed me for the Singapore support. I
Yeah.
didn't like him. Yeah, I don't think he liked me, but I know I had that time. I don't know what I was in Singapore. I had some influence in the.
Yeah.
I think I was treasurer or something. I don't know, but whatever I said, the Singapore did that time. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but we brought the Singapore out there.
Yeah, no, I remember because that was the time I started to get involved, and any time I had anything to do with the orphan home, it was always Carl was
I
the,
had a big nose in front of me.
yeah, Carl,
I know, but somebody had to do it.
yeah, he never trusted me because I was an American.
Well, I mean, he was one of the first Americans we let into the Singapore too. I don't know why we did that, but we never.
They never made that mistake
If you
before.
was not German born, you couldn't get into the Singapore, or maybe one or two. But you was one of the first one we let sneak in here.
Yeah.
Remember?
And then you made a mistake and made me president.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
Mr. Knobloch, why did they decide to move the German orphan home to Upper Marlboro? How did the board decide that?
Well, oh boy. Well, it was Osa. It was Osa who, I don't know, he had a lot of influence. Osa was more little bit like him, and he still has a lot of influence, but he had more influence than us. He was but anyway, I don't know.
I had always heard, Carl, that the fire marshal was going to condemn the occupancy of the building on Good Hope Road.
Yeah,
Was that a part of moving?
yeah, it was not 100%,
No.
but he always looked for bigger spaces also. He was far-sighted, in my opinion, but he was not liked at all. Nobody liked that guy, but he knows what he's doing. So I remember the time when we went out, looked at that thing, that property. Well, half of them didn't like it. The other half went along because also told them to. So we brought the property out there. It was Osa's insistence. He was a dictator. I mean, and you had to follow him for some reason. I don't know why.
Who on the board was the head of the building committee for the new facility? Do you remember?
I know I was involved there. I was very much involved, but
Somebody overruled, I take it, Pop Christman in the kind of building Christman wanted. Was that Ozer's strong personality too that
it
did
could
that?
be, yeah. Also, but also wanted he got it. I mean, somehow he was tough. He wasn't unfair, but you couldn't resist Oz. I mean, Oz always won, whatever he won. That's the way building. We had to give in. Of course, we agreed a lot with him. You know, we couldn't say he was wrong, but whatever little bit we had against him, he just, not like you know, you listen to us, you know. But
I heard that Ozier belonged or worked for the telephone
tell him,
company.
he was a boss, yeah. He was a big, not a big shot, but he was a big boss in the telephone company, yeah.
And I heard that they designed the building by one of the architects who worked for the telephone company. That's why it looks so different.
No, I
No?
don't think. No, I don't think that architect had nothing to do with that. No, I know when we picked that architect, I don't think he was involved in telephone company. I don't think so.
The architect was at that time, a well-known Washington architect.
Yeah, it
Really?
was. Yeah,
Really was.
and we
And
had
you have to also keep in mind, at the time things were designed, 1964, 65, they were all going over to glass and open space and all the
didn't give-
stuff we hated later.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then we had a lawyer, a chairman. The often had a lawyer. He handled much of the stuff. He was our lawyer. You could talk to him. A big law firm. I forgot
That
his
was
name.
Mr. Yokelson.
Jochels.
Yeah.
Irving Yokelson.
Jochels.
Wonderful, wonderful man.
Yeah, and you could talk to him.
Yeah.
We many meetings. We discussed a lot of things that time. And Jochelson, we followed his advice. I mean, so we bought that thing. I don't know, made a mistake or not, but the building itself now is not the right building for it. It's just, the wind blows right through that damn thing here, no matter what you do. It's not efficient. Construct a building for.
Well, in
He-
some ways, it's tremendously strong. Like the ceiling on the upper floor is concrete. It is concrete. It is not just plaster. It is concrete.
It's tough.
And
You can walk around like on the first floor up there.
yeah,
It's a good building. The building architecture.
Yeah.
It's not efficient for heating.
well, the problem at that time was oil cost 4 cents a gallon, and
Yeah,
it was
it
very
was-
cheap as a
yeah,
heat source, and so nobody put money into
Look
you
at the
know,
windows now.
the
we have.
heavy.
The windows. The
sufficient
wind
windows.
blows right through
Yeah.
the windows. I mean,
But
It's-
that happened by many architects in
That's
many
right,
places.
yeah.
That's not unique to us.
it did the best.
How long did Mr. Christman stay with the program? Did Mr. Christman ever move out to the new building to run the program out
You
there?
mean the old
The
Christian?
old, yeah.
Yeah,
Pop Christman.
not long. He was out there very short time of somehow. But he didn't have much influence out there. But well, you got me a little bit. He didn't have any influence anymore. The old Christman. Years ago was different, but he didn't have much to guide us, whatever you call it. No, we didn't. No, we didn't depend much on Christmas. We had also. He was the one you had to follow if you don't like it or not. Also was the one who did everything. He okayed the planes and everything. And damn, if you worked against Oster, you were lost. I mean, he really had us buffaloed, you know. I mean, we had to do what Oster wants to do.
Somehow, he also became the superintendent.
Yeah, he was so sure
So he was a board
he was
member and the
he was the
superintendent.
chairman of the home. He was tough. This guy, he's different than him. Yeah. He was really tough.
And then he died from a brain tumor.
Yeah, he was very bad. I visited him a week before he died. He was just like a 2-year-old, couple-year-old child. He didn't know anymore. I visited him before he died. He was in bad shape. Brain tumor. He was really bad.
But
I
Karl,
don't-
you were in a decision, you say you were involved in the decision or voting. Were you an actual member of the board at that time,
When,
of the orphan home board?
on what? When we moved out,
When did you become a board member?
I don't know, but in the old home,
You were at the old home, you were,
whatever it was, I was, the last couple of years, I didn't want to join, I was pushed in because I did all the work. I mean,
yeah,
the plumbing, the electricity, so I was,
so they made you a board member?
yeah, they made me board member just to keep me busy. I guess so, I don't know.
So you were a board member for a short time at Good Hope Road?
Yeah,
Maybe a few, 2 or 3 years, you think?
or something like
Yeah.
that. Because I know I did a lot of work in the old home. The only thing I don't know anymore, when we moved from the home, the whole attic was full of, in my opinion, very valuable paper. I'm old archive, like I'm an archive, you know, I believe, but everything disappeared. Damn if I know what happened. They must have thrown it in chunk or something. The whole attic was full, beautiful photographs, records, everything disappeared. They must have dumped it somewhere. I don't know what happened. It hurt me because I was always involved in archives, you know. And all of a sudden, when I came out, it was gone. The whole attic was full with photographs and records. I mean, not the, I mean, I don't know, room full stuff. Everything old, in my opinion, valuable stuff. It just dumped everything out.
Carl, who had the idea, or how did the idea of leasing the land on Good Hope Road come about instead of selling it?
Who bought,
Well, instead of selling the land once the orphan
oh
home
yeah,
moved,
well,
who had the idea of the long lease?
that was a board's decision, not one. Well, I don't know exactly the guy who did it, but we agreed it should be done that way. I don't know the person. I was involved in it because I believe in accumulating, you know, but I don't know exactly who
Yeah.
did. And
How did the Rupert home fit in with the German organizations in the city of Washington? How did it participate?
well, the Rupert home was never close to the orphan. I mean, they were never friends, like, they were close neighbors, but they didn't like them. You know, they were not close.
We didn't have board members
No,
that were on
no,
both
never.
boards?
Well, I don't know why they didn't like each other, but they were neighbors. But they never, we never close, you know. when they had every year they had a little lunch, what you call a dinner. You paid a couple of dollars. Then we visited them, see, but that's the only time. We never support them because we never was friends for some reason when we were neighbors. And even in the last, before the home was sold, I was in contact with the president that time, and they didn't know him, but the fire department called me, and they didn't know who was the charge of the Robert. And I called that Robert home, but I said, you know, your building burned down. He didn't even know it, you know. They didn't know who he was, but you know. So anyway, we were never close. For somebody,
But the building was on the German orphan home property.
but no, it was not the
No.
property anymore. No, it was the property. No, it was not. It was behind the
It was
property,
behind the property.
but it was never owned by the German orphan home. It was, you know, a separate.
Yeah,
According to our records, it never was owned by the German orphan. Never did it to them. They bought that parcel land by themselves.
Then the next big thing that you had a very great influence on was building of the hall, recreation hall,
Oh, well, yes.
and then the addition to the hall.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah. How the hell you get you?
Well, that happened before me.
I
mean,
know,
I
but-
wasn't there, so I don't know.
I don't know why I know I had a hard time to convince the Sangerbund to invest, but the Sangerbund gave some money. See, I forgot some. I always want to build the hall out there, see, but I had no money. But I know I had the support, so I started kind of found with all the German clubs. Each one gave a couple of $100. So, and
Well, there's
Yeah.
there's
It
he has
was-
two questions which would interest me. The hall itself, the first hall that was built there. Now I understand
Yeah.
Oser was
also
involved.
started that.
He got the first hall
yeah,
built,
yeah.
and then when it came to the second hall, Karl was the moving for. I was president of the Sangerbund at that time, and Karl was Karl and Rudy Becker Senior
Yeah,
were moving forces to try to add on. And what happened was the Sangerbund used to have its masquerade balls down at the Presidential Arms on G Street, and all of a sudden that disappeared. So the Sangerbund had no place
Now,
to hold its
that,
affairs.
that was owned by Jewish people.
Yeah.
They didn't want to have any German
Well,
association.
what really happened was they made it difficult for us. We used to sell our own beer and food and everything there, and then all of a sudden one time we'll rent you the hall, but we handle everything else. Well, that was tantamount to telling us you're not going to make any money on this thing. So Karl at that time was pushing. Well, there's this big hall up there at the orphan home, and if we double the size of the hall, that could work good for the orphan home and for the Sangerbund. And I was at that time I was not involved with the orphan home, only peripherally through the Oktoberfest, and so Karl was really pushed very hard on that, and we agreed. And the number 35,000 sticks in my head as to what the Sangerbund put out to build that addition onto the hall, which at that time, considering the Sangerbund's treasury, which was probably $40,000.
But you have to remember that we paid it back 2-3 years after. We borrowed that money.
Yeah, we borrowed. Yeah, we
We have to
had
pay
the
the
Sangerbund had to borrow the money We borrowed some of the money from the Concord Club and from other clubs.
But we paid it
to-
back.
But we
don't
paid
own that
everybody
much.
back that we borrowed, but the bottom line was, we paid roughly $35,000,
Yeah.
plus all the labor. It was donated labor to put that on, and the Sangerborn was very concerned about the relationship with the orphan home. Hey, are they gonna suddenly cut off and say, you can't use this anymore? So Karl Schmuck was president of the orphan home at that time, and we sat down and negotiated a deal whereby I think it started like 8 days, and then after a
We had
year,
a
then
good
after 3
contract.
years, 4 days a year we would have in perpetuity, would have use of that. As long as the orphan home owned that building, the Sangerborn would have it free of charge. And if we were going to use it any other times, we would pay the orphan home for that. So that worked out fine, and it's still in effect today as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not clear, did the $35,000, you borrowed the money to give that to the home, but did the home pay you back?
No,
or- That
no.
was a gift to the
That was a
German orphan
gift
home.
to the orphan home. Yeah,
But we got the money from different, not all from the singer, but we got
No.
it from other.
from
I
the
went all over town
Yeah.
from here, a couple of towns here.
Yeah.
You know, everybody from the German
community. But
I still have
the
that.
Sangerborn had the entire responsibility for the
Yeah.
money. We
Yeah.
paid back everybody that we borrowed from, but the bottom line was we made a flat donation to the orphan home.
Why did the other German organizations want to get involved in it? I mean, what
Well,
was it for them? What good was it?
Well, it's
every other city, United States,
Mhm.
German community work together. They
Yeah.
have their home. Washington didn't have it, nothing.
we would.
We had nothing. So I appealed to them. Look at what Philadelphia had. But everybody had a German home. I mean, something like this. Washington didn't have it. So I appealed to them, to the newspaper and stuff like that. And we got a little money together.
Well, are you talking about the German home or maybe the German cultural types, the German cultural center?
Well, see,
This
there
is
at
more-
that time there were a lot of different clubs. For example, there was a sports club here in Washington, and what we did, because I think we started with 8 days a year, one of those days we used to hold a joint dance with the sport club so that they could earn money. The Sangerborn never. We were supposed to split it half and half, and the Sangerborn gave it to the sports club, but through Karl's efforts and the clubs just had confidence in the Sangerborn, and so they put a lot of this money up front, which was very pleasing, and it was really Karl's effort that got us the money together. And as I said, we paid back all those clubs eventually, and then it started to turn around, and then we had some great Oktoberfests, like especially in '75. You remember that? And
But wasn't it also true, Mr. Knobloch, that
Yeah.
wasn't it also true that when the hall was first built,
Yeah.
it was built so that the children
Well,
in the German orphan home could have an activity area?
yeah, sure. Otherwise, we couldn't get a permit.
Because by the time I arrived in 1970,
That was a
the
big.
children were not permitted
I
to go
know,
up
but-
there.
How could I get a permit up there on the hill to build a hall for the Sangerborn? I couldn't. I had to tell them, the children, when we had the zoning board somewhere, which whatever you call it, zoning board, I had a hearing. I remember they're all sitting around, and I told them, the board, there were 10, 12 members of the zoning board. I told them, the children, it was a big lie. The children need a place to play, to do something, and they right away decided. If I had said the Singapore, well, I wouldn't get the permit because that was a special permit.
You and Karl Schmuck, I think, appeared. I read those minutes
Hmm.
some time ago about the recreation hall,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I think Karl went to it and Karl Knobloch too. And it was approved as a recreation hall for the children. That's the first part.
Yeah.
I don't remember reading what you went through to build the second part onto it.
Well, I remember the board, the zoning board, but it's so shiny. It's a tough, a tough outfit. And when I told them that the children needed a place to play and they I won. Right away, they said, okay. But I didn't have it. It wasn't true that we wanted for the singer to have a play. But I told them the children needed a place and they swallowed it, see? I remember that meeting, everybody 100% okay, you get a permit. It was a special permit, see? But I didn't lie. I mean, they used it once in a while, but most of the time it, it was not for children. Man, children didn't go there much.
You see the zoning of that area as we looked at it a few years ago, at that time was really farm and residential. So initially, there was a special exception for a
It
children's
was,
home.
it's,
Hmm.
And then later, there was a special exception for the
yeah,
recreation hall.
yeah.
And it's on the plan, on the
I
board
don't-
as a recreation hall.
But I remember it was tough for me, with 10, 12 members to make the statement. I know I was 100%. It was tough, but what can you do?
You were like Pinocchio with your nose going?
I know, but I remember that day. It was tough. I didn't lie exactly, but I didn't tell the truth. It was tough on me.
No,
I
Carl
still-
deserves the credit for that
I
because
still
as the
regret it.
president of the Sangerbund, I still had my reservations about putting out all this money for a hall that wasn't going to be ours and
Yeah.
all that. And Carl kept saying, "You don't have to worry." And I wasn't familiar with zoning
Yeah, I
and
know
all
you
that
don't.
at the
I
time.
know.
All I know was one day Carl says, "We got it. We can start." And did it, but
It was a tough time for me too.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
My wife sacrificed a lot, and she still let me have it once in a while. She still let me have it. She said, for 10 years, I didn't have no husband. But damn, I have to hear it all the time. It's tough. But it's done. I think I did the right thing.
We do too.
I think so.
Mr. Knobloch, when by 1971, there were only 13 children in that big home.
Oh, there was times less than that. Yeah.
And the
That
board,
was a lot, 14.
really,
Yeah, it was a lot.
Mm.
Oh, my God, it was a lot. There was a time we had 5 and 6.
Yeah.
It was, and we had to pay them guys
the,
like you.
the
you know,
matrons
ma-
to,
was social, what you call it. We had to have so many this, I don't know, your position, so many of yours, so many of yours. We had to not social workers, whatever you call it. We had to have it. If we 3 children,
Right.
it was tough, very tough.
what happened, what was the feeling on the board when the state began telling you what to do? How did the board members feel? Remember the state of Maryland told the board it had to follow certain policies?
Well, what do you mean? But we had to do whatever they told us to.
Uh-huh.
It was tough. We couldn't do it all the time because I forgot what you ask me now. What do you mean? We had to follow the rules of George County. But sometimes we couldn't follow it. We didn't have the money, and we didn't have enough children. Last time we only had, I forgot how many, very few children. And we had a lot of employees like you know.
And so what did the board think when there were so few children? What did they think was happening?
We were stuck. We were stuck. The Prince George County, the state said, you have to do this. We couldn't do it. We did the best we could, but it was tough. Some parts are impossible. We had to have, even we had the future, we had to have a social work, whatever you call it. We had to have this or this. We couldn't afford it.
Was Olga Schwenk a member of the board then?
Yes, she was, yeah.
Over most of the years you were a member?
What?
Over most of the same years you were a member?
Not as long as I was there, but I was there when I helped her get into the board, Miss Schwenk. And she was very supportive. But,
She was very farsighted too, wasn't
yeah,
she?
she was very, oh yeah, we were very close, very close. I mean, Olga and me, we were very close. We worked together, 100%. I glad she died.
I interviewed for the job
Yeah.
at the German orphan home. It was 1971.
Oh my God.
I don't remember you, but I remember Colonel Rigdon. You remember Colonel Rigdon?
Yeah, but he wasn't much, he didn't have much influence in the board.
Okay.
He had the name, but I mean, I don't know how to express myself. He wasn't an influential member, like him, friends.
And Mr. Sentman?
Huh?
Mr. Sentman?
He was what you call Sentman was. He never talked. Sentman was. We respected him as an older gentleman, but Sentman was never outspoken. He never. We never had disagreement with him because he was always quiet. When vote came, we voted, but Sentman was never, I don't know how to express myself, Sentman was never, how you express yourself, plan something in your head or do something. Sentman was there to listen, he said yes or no, that's about all. But that's the way it sometimes has to be. But I myself was always, for somehow, I don't know, aggressive or something, always involved somehow. But Sentman never was. She was on the good side of everybody.
I always pictured you, Karl Knobloch, as a person who, being on both boards, the Sangerbund and the orphan home, tried to keep things moving between the two. You were kind of a master politician.
I don't know what I was, but
You were. I mean, take our word for it. Bill Caldwell agrees with me.
Yeah. And sometimes when he was a politician, he would find himself caught between the rock and the hard place. But he always came out of it all right.
Yeah.
not always, no. But I don't regret it what I did.
Of course not. I think all of us have been very proud of what you did.
Mr. Knobloch, a lot of the kids who grew up in the home remember you. They used to hang out with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you were working there.
But I'll never forget, they put sugar in my car.
Oh, that's because they liked you.
I never forget them. They put, they put sugar. Can you imagine that? What I did for them? It's a girl did it. They put sugar in my gasoline. Can you beat that? It's some, it was a girl.
Oh, the girl
girl.
we gave the money to.
I guess so. But then, and then on top of it, she busted in the window of the toilets. Same day. She put sugar in my car. I don't know what I did to her. I really don't know. I never did that.
Did you let the boys drive the tractor and you didn't
I
let the
don't know
girls
what I
drive?
did. I didn't do no harm, but she put sugar in my car. She, one time, I don't know what I had to do. I was charged, and I had to go to the different rooms to inspect, I don't know, the beds or something. And I went with the ladies' side. I had to see the, I don't know, beds or mattress. And I went in the room and lifted the mattress up. There's nobody. And the girl came in and she hollered, "Hey!" And Grace, like I attacked her. I was in the room. I got the hell out of here as quick as I could. You know, I mean, the idea the girl had, she hollered like crazy. I was in there and I don't know, that superintendent we had, he threw a lot of mattresses out. I mean, 10, 20, I don't know whatever he did. And I had to get them back. So the mattresses, you imagine, threw mattresses out by 10, 20. I don't know why he did
That
that.
was Osier.
I don't know who, no, it
Because
wasn't.
after that, it was Mrs. Rhodes. Remember Mrs. Rhodes?
But anyway, I got the mattresses back. Some of them. But down at the creek, mattresses, imagine could throw mattresses away. I don't know what happened there. But 10 mattresses or more, and I bought them back, carried them back in the house, but there was nothing wrong with for some reason. But one time I was in a room, the mattresses, the girl came and she hollered like crazy. I like attacked her. God damn, I feel bad, you know. I want the hell out of here. You know, but, you know, I felt bad. And she see me there on the mattress, lifted, looked, and she came in, hollered like crazy. I said, boy, God, I better get the hell out of here. Little girl, you know, 12, 14 years old, I don't know. I was feeling bad that time, you know.
Did Anna join in some of the women's clubs, the women's committee, or the happiness club?
She never joined anybody. She had enough with me.
She wouldn't give
She
any
would
more.
never.
She already gave you.
No,
So-
she said, yeah, have enough. She still complains about it. She says, I had nothing for you for 10 years. Nothing. Just off and home. I have to hear it all my life. Well, can you do? It's women are like this, you know. But she said she had nothing for me. Just off and home. Off and home. What can you do? Anyway,
I drove up there today.
yeah.
I was out there early this morning. And we have a nice sign right there on Melwood Road says the Karl Knobloch.
Oh, my
Hall.
God. You
Yeah.
still have it there?
Yes, it is. It's right on the corner.
Oh,
Yep.
my God. It's a hell of, you know, it's not the real German name, you know. Knobloch Karl, isn't it? Is that the German?
Well, it's a
German,
heck of a
yeah.
lot more German than Melwood Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Knobloch Karl. I mean,
Knobloch.
you know what
with a-
it means.
Yeah.
A knob means a doorknob, and it means Knobloch. It needs a doorknob and a lock, doesn't it? I mean, in Germany, it's not a very nice name.
No,
Is it?
wait a minute. Hold it. The
Is
Hohenzollerns had relatives by name
the
of
history up. There was a
Knobloch,
knob.
yeah.
There was a big. Yeah, okay, I'm not sorry.
So it's
I
not
read
a,
it wrong.
it's not
He
that.
was a big German general,
Yeah.
big. His
Mhm.
name was not. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not proud of the name. I mean, it's not. Grimmelmeyer looks better than Knobloch.
It's harder to spell.
How about Caldwell?
It looks well. Karl looks English. Has nothing to do with German. Caldwell, yeah, but Grimmelmeyer, that's real German.
I always wondered about Caldwell and the Zingerbund.
They call it
How the
Hattewelle in
hell
German,
he
which
got
means
it
cold
in there
wave.
anyway?
Is that right?
You know,
Yeah.
when I think he was the first Americans who got into the Zingerbund, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we still resented up to date that we got Americans in it, but we had to.
Don't you forget it.
I don't know.
They remind him every meeting.
But to their credit, I was there only a
No.
year and a half and they made me president.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell we did that.
but you kept repeating it.
Yeah, they came.
So something must
But
have
I
worked
don't know
right.
what the hell we got him in there like this. We never allowed that before, but he sneaked himself in somehow. But it's all right. He's not bad. He's just, you know,
That's,
he's,
that's a compliment.
Yeah.
He's not bad. It's,
he's not.
You're working up higher in the list here,
Now
Bill.
listen,
good
I
idea.
had. You have to excuse me. I had 2 drinks dinner.
yeah, that's.
So you have to excuse me. In my age, that's a lot.
Hmm.
That's an awful lot, yeah. But when I look at him, I see Olga
His mother.
strength. I always see her. She was very close.
Oh, thank you. That's a compliment.
I remember the time we had a small plane, 110 people there. She came, bought a big clock. I mean, I don't know, 6, 8 foot high clock. And she bought it on the airport. We had to push it into compartment. We hadn't. My gosh, she made me mad. I could do nothing. It was here. She pushed it in, and a lot of package couldn't get in no more. We had to take our package inside. She had the damn clock inside. It's still there in her house
Still,
somewhere.
is it in your house
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, it's still there. It's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that was my grandfather's clock. That was my mother's father's
Yeah.
clock.
She bought that damn clock
Yeah.
in there. Damn,
Wow.
that was tough.
Mm.
And I was in charge of the airplane, you know. And everybody complained to me, well, what could I do? It was there.
Well, see, when my mother and dad went to Germany, uh, my mother's father had died,
Yeah.
and they had put that clock out in the street. And so my mother's cousin took it home with her, and then from that point on, it ended up coming back to our country. So,
It was tough.
Yeah.
I was in charge of the airplane, you know, and people complained to me, what the hell we can't get them? They had to take a luggage inside. It was not a big plane.
Did you and Anna go on other trips with Olga?
No, only once.
Only one.
Only once, yeah. But she was a tough lady, I'm telling you. You could, whatever she wants, she got, I tell you. She
Karl?
got it.
Is there anything else now that you can think of from the old days of the orphan home, or particularly, the evolvement from the Good Hope Road out there? Actually, it's probably more important thinking back to Good Hope Road days
Yeah.
because
It's,
why don't you, if you do think of anything, why don't you call me and let me know, and then I can record it.
well,
and add it to
I
this.
had a few beers, whatever you call it, things.
Okay,
Right now,
but we don't want to keep you all afternoon because Anna's dinner's going to get cold too.
did I have? That's for Annie.
That's for Anna and you.
I had my dinner here.
Well, you didn't eat it.
Didn't.
No. Remember, you got stuck in your throat? And so,
Bossy, very bossy. Not like you. I mean, a little bit, but not.
Was she was a board member?
Yeah, but
No?
She
no,
was
I
not?
don't know what she was, but I don't think any Melba would say any. Most people didn't like her. I don't know why, but she was bossy, I guess, maybe.
She lived in the Rupert home.
This I don't know.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about here?
Anna Barch Dunn.
But yeah, but she,
From whence the
educational.
educational trust fund comes from.
yeah,
I see.
she was in the behind. Yeah,
She was in the Rupert home.
Rupert home was that was an article by itself. Rupert home and Orphan home. There were two neighbors, but never closed.
Yeah.
You know, we always had the distance. We were never friends. You know, we were lived as neighbors, but we never, I would say we did like each other, but we never bothered about each other. We were separated.
I know, and that always,
Now,
if I remember you in the late 70s and in the 1980s, that always worried you that we never got close to them.
no, I don't know why. They were nice people too, and I always was invited on. They had a yearly dinner. You paid
Yeah.
$1 over. They had a nice dinner for but we never really closed. Yeah. Even the late president. I remember the time it burned down. I remember they didn't have the address of the president. So when the building burned down, somebody from the fire department called me, see, and I called then the president. They didn't know the president that the building burned down. Remember in the back there, they know me, but they didn't know him. So I told them it was, but personally, I think they did it for insurance purposes. I can't say it, but I have a feeling they did it. Damn if
Well,
I don't want to be.
things happen. Yeah.
I don't damn if I. So.
All right.
Well, I remember that Anna, it must be Mr. Grass who told me that Anna Barch Dunn lived in the Rupert home and that she was a physician, and she owned a lot of property. She owned property in Silver Spring and in several other areas, and it was the elder Mr. Chrisman who befriended her and asked her if she would be willing to set up a trust fund upon her death, which was how it got started.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in more information about her, but no one knows a lot about her.
the mystery woman, really.
Yeah, she never married.
Well, we ought to let Karl get home before the rush hour
I think
starts.
so
Yeah.
too.
Let me get home before the rush hour starts.
And they get home before the rush hour.
But I don't know. I don't know. I know the building was insured very good. That's all I know. But,
I'll go down and settle this.